Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Sean Lowery Show. This is episode 35 of my podcast. 35 podcasts in 35 weeks. Not too bad. I'm staying safe from the coronavirus. I'm honestly surprised that the NBA's canceled and all that's going on, but I don't have much to say about that. I'm not a science person. I'm not an infectious disease expert. I'm a business person, and I'm going to keep this podcast about business. I've been having some awesome guests on lately. We've been having some fun, but I'm going to get into some business stuff, some selling products, and a lot of people in this entrepreneur world, they talk about passive income. I'm not all about that. I'm not very passive. Information products and selling courses. But that's really not me. I mean, this podcasting is kind of that, but I'm not successful yet in this. You're listening to an unsuccessful podcast. Congratulations. But I am building up my personal brand and everything like that, but this is a new experiment where I have had success, sold over $10 million worth of products, is selling products online, my business, United Monograms, and I've had a long path to get there, but e-commerce, selling products online, that is my area of expertise. And I think it's a great way to start a business, the number one best way to start a business. And when it comes to selling products, I think it's obvious to me that selling online is the way to go. And when you're selling online, I think that using Shopify is by far the best website. They're an amazing place to start. So Amazon and Etsy have their own advantages, but if you're just going to build your own website, use Shopify. All right, but I still know people in this day and age who are starting businesses and they want to sell physical products. And their first thought is they're going to go door to door and sell their product, which is insane to me. Or they'll have a Facebook page and an Instagram, but they'll set up a little store. They'll start selling their products at a physical marketplace. And it's just insane to me that that is their primary sales source. I know somebody who has an online store. They sell only at events and they don't even have a website. And I saw it and I just thought it was absolutely insane. And to me, somebody who starts a business and this is their first instinct, I think not only should that person not be an entrepreneur, I think they should just be, checked into where they have the aliens and do research on their brain. It's insane to me that that's where you'd start if you were going to start selling products as a business. And the only exception I can think of is maybe perishable items like food. But even with that, I've got shipped products from HelloFresh. They send us vegetables and stuff in the mail. So if you're going to start a business and you're selling a product or anywhere, start with the internet. That is the marketplace that connects us all. I remember when I first started selling shirts, I went to a flea market once, and it was St. Patrick's Day, and we had Lucky shirts, and it said Lucky, these generic St. Patrick's Day designs. We set up, we brought all the stuff there, we set up, we sold 3 shirts, and we left, and I was in a terrible mood. And on the way home back from this place, there was a casino, and we stopped and we put our last money in the casino, and I was outside the casino, and I ripped my shirt off that said it's my lucky day, and I was in a terrible mood, and that's the last time I ever tried to sell anything not on the internet. And the advantages of selling online: 1, you can sell to anyone on the internet. If you're selling at a physical location, your market is everyone who's there. If you're selling on the internet, your market is everyone. If you're selling at a market, you can only sell during the hours that the market is open. If you're selling on the internet, you can sell while you sleep. You can sell any time of the day to anyone, across time zones, anything. And physical stores are closed at night. Plus, the coronavirus, stuff like that, bad weather, doesn't matter. If there's bad weather, people go inside and shop online. I'm hoping that the coronavirus helps my business because people will be stuck inside waiting for the time when it's over. So our 8 to 10 day shipping window for monograms won't be a problem. So those are just many of the reasons why online is the obvious place to start. And I don't think that you should need too much convincing with that. All right, so those are all the advantages of selling products online, many of them, but the biggest advantage that I can think of is that when you sell a product and you have a business and you create streams and systems to sell a product, then you have a real, tangible company. You have a company that you can sell one day. If you build an information business and it's all about you and your face and your information, and you want to sell that business one day, you can't. Good luck doing it without you being a part of it. So if you build a business that sells products, it's a tangible asset that one day maybe you can possibly sell to someone else for a big profit. So those are all the reasons why I love selling products. And in this episode, I'm not going to get deep into how to sell these items. A little bit, I will, but I'm going to talk about more the different levels of physical products. If you're starting from the very beginning and you want to start selling products, these are the things you should start thinking about. So when it comes to selling, you are going to have to grind. You're going to have to build a community of loyal customers around your product or your brand. There's no way around that. That part's hard. And a little quick advice is you should hack a market that already exists and make sure that you have a product and market fit for that market. But also remember that your business isn't special. You're going to have to think about your product and your idea, but you're not going to have an original idea that no one's ever had before. It can be unique, but you don't have to decide whether or not you start a business based upon, I'm the first person ever to think of this. That's never going to happen. That's dumb. Because starting a business, it's really never going to be that logical when you're looking at it from the very beginning. It's not. It's going to be driven on your passion, and it's going to be kind of selfish. And you want to create a machine for yourself so you can drive growth and drive happiness and have something to do and build every day where you can make other people's lives better. And it's never going to be, I have an idea that no one else ever had. I got to start this business. No, you want to start a business because you want to create a life for yourself. So starting products is a great way to do it. And at the end, I'm going to give a little synopsis of my journey. But first, I want to go through these steps and the different types of physical products and where to start. All right, so the types of physical products. I think there's 2 levels. So level 1 is the beginning stages where you can start with just a laptop. And the first way you can sell a physical product, starting a business, is drop shipping. I've never done this before, but you can go online, you can search products to drop ship, and it's basically you sell a product that already exists. There's companies out there who make products, and their business model, let's say lipstick. There's manufacturers who make lipstick, and they don't want to deal with selling it to individual customers. So what they do is they allow drop shippers to sell their products. So there's many sites. If you Google products to drop ship, there's a million different sites where you can go find a product. And what you do is you take their lipstick and you create your own website and you say, I'm selling this lipstick. You have to do your own advertising. You have to spend your own advertising dollars, create your own social media, your own website. But people come to you and they buy the lipstick from you. And when someone places an order with you, you turn around to the drop shipper and they ship it right from their warehouse right to your customer. So that's what drop shipping is. It's you sell the product, but you don't store the inventory. You don't store the lipstick. The manufacturer of it does. So the manufacturer gets to go right to the customer and not have to deal with any of the ads or the website building. And you get to deal with the ads and the website building and the sales, but don't have to deal with the lipstick manufacturing and shipping logistics. So that is drop shipping, and that's the first way that you can start selling products. And number 2 is if you're an artist or something like that, you can design or redecorate a raw item, but use a third-party production. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Teespring. This is a popular site that a lot of people use. And basically, it's the same thing as drop shipping, but your design is on the product, the t-shirt, the mug. There's some really good sites for this. Teespring's one for shirts, but there's another site called Guten, another site called Printful. And these are sites where you can draw art. You can draw an original piece of art that you did, and you can sell it on big canvas prints, little canvas prints, t-shirts, koozies. These sites will offer a lot of different products with your design on it. So this is cool because the advantages are you're building a brand in a way, it's your art that people are buying. Again, no inventory. The other thing is if you spend time drawing and you get 100 shirts printed and you get them to your house to ship them, but no one wants to buy them, that's a problem. You're sitting in your house, but there's no harm if you sell on one of these sites. You put it up, you offer it on hundreds of products, and if no one buys it, the only harm that came is that the time you spent to do the design. So there's little to no startup cost, and the disadvantages are the same as drop shipping, You don't control the shipping time. You don't control your prices. So these two are great ways to start selling products. And if you're designing your own product, your own design that's being sold, you are kind of building a brand. So that's even better. But with both of these, you have no power over your pricing. You have no power over your supply chain. It's more for people who are just starting and selling out of their house or just don't want to deal with all the things that come with a business. You can't really sell that business one day. You're never going to have a multi-million-dollar business that you sell just by drop shipping or just by using one of these third-party companies. So it's a good way to start. It's a good way to maybe make a little money on the side, but you're not building a company with these things. But you are selling a product. And again, one of the advantages of selling a product is that it gets delivered to the customer and it's delivered. If you're selling a course, someone's going to say, hey, I got your course. I spent $100 and I'm not learning anything from it. What can you do for me? When a product arrives, they say it's arrived and you delivered that value. So that's an advantage of selling products. So that's an advantage of selling products. So drop shipping and redecorating sites like Teespring and Printful, those are two ways to start selling products. That's level one, the beginning stages, and they're good ways to start. But the other ways, and these are more ways of selling a product that is building a company. And I'm all about building companies. So these are the ways I would start it. So the number one way is to completely build an original product. Now, I'll explain my model, but I've never done this. And the clear advantages of this are no competition. It's an original product. Now, an example of this could, I don't know, be something like a fidget spinner or something where it's like a physical product. You can make it out of plastic or some type of mold or I used to work with this guy and I talked about it in one of my podcasts before, Bev Boy. He had a koozie with this little thing on the bottom that floats when you're in the pool. You can put your beer in it and it floats. That's an original product. And those are cool because obviously you have no competition. Now, the challenges of those is one, you need to be creative and have the idea, which is hard enough, and build an audience for it. And when you're selling it, you have to educate the market on a product that doesn't exist yet. So there's an education thing when it comes to sales. So that's an issue. But one of the hardest things I think is that you have to deal with your manufacturer. I mean, you're not going to have a factory right off the bat to make your own product. So you hear about it like on Shark Tank. People, they have a mold made and they have to send it to the manufacturer. It's usually overseas. And here you are storing your own inventory because you're probably going to get, depending on the product, maybe you start with 5, but then maybe get 20, then maybe get 100 made, keep them in your basement and start shipping them out. That's good because you have control over that to your customers. But you have to deal with inventory. You know, if you run out and you need more from your supplier and people want them, you can't make the money on that. That doesn't happen if you're using Teespring or drop shipping. But it's really starting a company and you have to start learning how you're going to do your supply chain. But early on, you have to deal with a third-party manufacturer, which can be complicated, but worth it to learn the process. And you have to store your product, maybe get a warehouse, learn how to ship them. That's hard, but it's worth it if you're going to start building a business behind this product. And there's going to be some startup costs. There's going to be the time that it takes. There's going to be the cost to manufacture the product. There's going to be the cost to store the product after you get 100 or 200 made. But this is how you really start a business. And it's cool. It's completely making your own thing. I don't know, whatever it could be. Fidget spinner pops into my head for some reason. Just a little gizmo or a little gadget, something that adds value. So that is one way to sell a product. And then the fourth way that I have a product to sell a product is the way that I'm doing it. And it's designing and redecorating a product, but doing it in-house with your own equipment. So monograms, and I'll talk about how I got on this path. Monograms are a great product. But the advantages of this are that, again, you have less competition because you are redecorating a product. For example, t-shirts and sweatshirts and bags. If you're redecorating that with your own thing and you're doing it in-house, then you can control all the processes and you're adding value to the product by putting your own original logo on it or your own original design. And you're starting the process of building a real business. Because it's all in-house, you control it, you're setting up your processes for the future, and you have less competition, it's more original. You don't need to deal with your own custom manufacturer. overseas and you don't need to depend on them for your inventory. But the challenges are it's labor intensive. I have 15 employees and I have an operations manager, I have shippers, I have printers, I have customer service, and all of this is what I want because I am building a business and I'm having the processes in-house built for me. But sometimes I don't think this, but I can understand how people might like just being at the kitchen table and just selling things that someone else is dealing with all the problems. And they get to maybe relax more. And I don't like to relax. I'm building a company, but this is a great way to do it. It's not having to have an original product, but it's taking something that already exists. Like if you have iPhone cases and you have your own stitching or your own engraving or your own thing where you own the machinery and you own the equipment and you source the product and then you redecorate it, redesign it, repitch it, make your own original product for your customers and sell it to them and control all the processes. So those are the two ways when you're building a company: creating your own original product and redecorating an original product in-house with your own machinery and your own original equipment. I'm going to kind of give you a quick run of how I got to my $10 million business today. And it goes through all these steps of selling physical products. And when I was in college, I knew I wanted to start a business. And I don't know, I had this idea for a brand called S. And I didn't know what it was, but I just wanted to have a brand. I had no idea what I was doing. I wanted to sell a brand. And my first thought was to go to one of these sites like Teespring and just create a logo, put it on a shirt, and be like, okay, I have a business now. But that was nothing. But then that got me thinking about t-shirts and stuff. And when I quit my job and I started my own company, the first thing I did was get t-shirt printing equipment. I don't really know why. I've talked about it before, but that's where I started. And I was originally thinking I was going to do some type of product or brand or like resell it. I didn't know. I just got started, got the equipment. And then the first thing I did was start my screen printing business. Now, I don't consider screen printing a product business. I consider that a service business because you're basically doing a service for other companies who need shirts. And that was what got me started with t-shirts. That's why I started in that field. So then I didn't like that business. And while it was going on and failing, one of the things I did was print a bunch of Dave Matthews Band t-shirts and go with my brother to all the concerts across the East Coast and sell shirts in the parking lot. I did it for fun. I love Dave Matthews. I had screen printing equipment, but I wasn't smart enough to know about e-commerce yet. I'd never really thought that. And you know what? We actually had some fun and had some success selling those Dave Matthews shirts. But that was my first time taking a product and selling it to people, but I still wasn't online yet. So I hadn't really figured it out. And of course, we had to haul them back and forth in the car. Definitely not worth it overall. It was fun. But then, while I was still doing that and I was still doing my failing screen printing business and figuring out my life and living in my mom's basement, I started my Notre Dame football Twitter account. And I really did that for fun too. I'm a fan of Notre Dame football, and I built that up to have 50 to 60,000 followers. The account's gone today. It got taken away from me over the years. It was like suspended, and I stuck with it, but I don't have it anymore. But it was huge, and I tweeted on Saturdays every game day. So I had an audience there. And then, this is when it really clicked for me. I started selling products, Notre Dame-themed products, on a website, a Shopify website. I made a Shopify website. It was called Go Irish, $15 tees. And I started selling shirts to my customers. Well, they weren't really my customers. They were my followers on the Twitter account. But I started selling them shirts. I put a link on the Twitter account to my website, Go Irish, $15 tees, and there were shirts there that said Go Notre Dame. They were better shirts than that. Copyright infringed shirts for sure. But people started buying them because I had such a big audience and I had good prices. And that's when it really clicked for me. I love this business model of selling products to a customer base online. I was selling them while I was sleeping. I was shipping them on my own time, and I was printing them, and I was shipping them out of my mom's basement. So it's kind of a print-on-demand business, but with screen printing, I had to print about 100 at a time in different sizes, and then I would keep them in the basement, and as people ordered them, I would put them in packages, drive to the post office, and ship to them, but I was on to something. That got shut down for copyright infringement, but I loved this idea. So then I started selling, then my business was $15 tees. And I was going to make a $15 tee site for every city, every college, and I was going to sell shirts online to all these different markets. And it started going pretty well, but the one that hit big was USA $15 tees. And that turned into United Tees, which was my first real business. And this was a product-based business where there was all kinds of different designs for 4th of July. And this is actually when I started doing some shipping that I didn't ship them all. So it's actually called dropshipping, but I would get my products, I would print them, and I would send them into a warehouse because I didn't have a bunch of employees to ship all these packages, and I was getting a lot of sales. And they weren't all personalized. They were all, I'd give 100 or 200 of the same exact shirt. So I would print all 100 or 200 of them. Then for a while I did this. Then I would send them into this other warehouse. And then as people bought them on my website, the warehouse would ship the products from their warehouse to the customer. So it was a way for me to not have to have a bunch of employees to ship everything. And one of the problems with this was that I would have a bunch of products in a warehouse they weren't selling that would be sitting there and costing me money. So it was one of the downsides of it. But then I found this magic formula with United Monograms. So United Monograms, if you don't know what monograms are, they're personalized items. Every single one is different because girls get their initials on different products. T-shirts, bags, hats, they get their initials on them. So they're original products. It has a built-in market of girls who already love monograms. We have repeat customers, and because of the complexity of the production of selling 100 different products to 100 different people, one-on-one, it's hard for other people to compete with this. When I had my 4th of July t-shirts for United Tees, anyone else, some kid in his dorm room could get 100 shirts made and have a funnier slogan than me and compete with me. So I always had this competition that was always someone else coming through, competing, selling funny 4th of July shirts. And I didn't have anything that really stuck out because other people could easily make t-shirts. People with monograms, they can't easily start that up. So we have a little bit of market where there's not as many people competing with us. So we have original products. It's B2C. We're selling right to the customers. We have repeat customers. We have people who already love monograms. It's tough for other companies to compete with us. And we control all the elements of shipping and production. We have to. Now we've gone to another level with this. We have automated files. When someone places an order on our website, we have servers automatically recreating the monogram, sending it right to a server, sending it right to our production facility, and we've really built off it. So I'm still in the stage where we really don't manufacture our own product. We get products and then we decorate them. But our process and business model is so complex that it's hard for other people to compete with us, which is why we've been able to do so well in this marketplace. And one thing that we can do in the future is possibly get our own sweatshirts and t-shirts made and manufactured and stored. And that's something that we've talked about and it's open for us to do. So now we've started from scratch at the very beginning stages, going through all these steps, and we have an original business. We have a business that is not easy to create from scratch, but I've had to go through all these little steps of just selling t-shirts and figuring out what the best way to sell a product is to get to where I am today. So if you're starting, there's 4 ways. You can either drop ship. You can either sell on Teespring and have your own design but not control the manufacturing. You can completely design a product from original, from your mind, right to your house, right to your customers, completely original product. Or you can redecorate and redesign products and control all the manufacturing and decoration in-house. So those are the ways you can sell products. And for somebody who's at the stages that I was, this should make a lot of sense. I would love to have had this advice when I was just starting, but I figured it out over all these paths and different routes and all these different ways I've gone. I found this amazing business, and that's how you build a business. You start from scratch, you start building, you start pivoting. I've stuck with t-shirts. I've stuck with clothing. I found that I love that. I found that I love selling products online directly to the customers. It makes sense in so many ways. And through those two things that I've stuck with and following logic, I found a business, United Monograms, that is booming and selling millions and millions every year. And we have so much more path to go. So this podcast was a little more complex, a little more in the details and in the weeds. But hey, I'm an entrepreneur and I love this stuff. We'll go back to having fun and having guests. But for those of you who want to start a business and you want to sell products online, break this down, figure out what your path is, and I wish you huge success. So like, subscribe, review the podcast if you've gone this far and you've been listening to it. I really appreciate you guys listening, and tune in next week. Thanks for listening to The Sean Lowery Show. Peace out.